Peter, great to have you with us.
Good evening,
And this deal seems to be coming together, but it also seems to have a lot of elements that are at best ambiguous, if in fact just poorly formed. Give us your sense of where this deal actually is, this so-called phase one.
Sure, Lou. They had an excellent talk, Ambassador Lighthizer, with Liu He, his counterpart, on the phone today. They're moving towards a trade agreement, a binding trade agreement with enforceable obligations. It might look like a 40 to 50-page document. The best chapter in it will be that on intellectual property. There's some good progress on forced technology transfer. Certainly the ag purchases, currency. What it doesn't do, which would have to be done in phase 2 and phase 3, is about 4 or the other, what I call the 7 deadly structural sins of the Chinese. Things like dumping and subsidies, state-owned enterprises, made in China, fentanyl killing Americans, and to me, one of the things that's very important, cyber intrusions into our business networks. But those are phase 2 and 3. But in the meantime, it looks like a great deal for phase 1 if we can get an enforcement mechanism, and that's the key. That's the red line of all of this.
An enforceable mechanism.
Yeah. What does that mean?
What does it look like?
Sure.
Because we're sort of in the peculiar position of asking another state not to steal from us, rather than erecting our own barriers, law enforcement, and matters of national security and defense, making certain that they damn well don't.
So we learned a lot from the WTO mechanism, which didn't work. What this one would look like would be quick, Trump time. You'd have a complaint, a violation of the agreement. That'd be settled in a matter of weeks or months. Then if the aggrieved parties, the United States, believes that it hasn't been fairly treated or given remedy, then it can impose tariffs, and the other party, China, would not be able to retaliate or appeal it to the WTO. That's kind of what it looks like. So if we don't have, and both sides, Liu He publicly said that if there's no enforcement mechanism, there can't really be a deal. They appear to be committed to it, but as the President Trump has always said, let's see.
Yeah. Let's see, and we have to also remember, which is that they reneged on the very similar concept, if you will, back in May. It's sort of amazing at the vice premier level to see a nation renege. Also, the reports suggesting that the Chinese definitively and absolutely mean that we need to remove those tariffs before they actually buy our products, our agricultural products. And by my calculation, and this is elementary mathematics, so it's something that I can deal with, it looks to me like we would lose quite a bit of money in terms of tariffs for not as much money in the way of agricultural purchases by the Chinese. Why in the world would we do that?
I think, Lou, both sides recognize that's a non-starter. We're not going to be removing the tariffs. What is in play is whether the December 15th tariffs go into effect. The conundrum here is, of course, if you simply repeal those tariffs in December, you don't have any incentive for the Chinese to do phase 2 and 3. So postponement might be in play, but let's be clear. The only reason why the Chinese are at the bargaining table is because President Donald J. Trump stood up to them, number one, and number two, imposed tariffs. That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. To his great credit, and to the country now, I think we've all become a little accustomed to those tariffs. And it seems that we are sort of putting ourselves in the position of dropping those penalties for their conduct before they change their conduct. And that seems to be a matter, if you will, of extraordinary faith and hope that has been misplaced, and only misplaced, in our previous dealings with the Chinese. Why should we do that?
Well, we shouldn't. Let's remember where we're hearing that from is not inside, but outside. That's the influence operation spin that's trying to push this president towards a place where we shouldn't go. So let's have faith in Donald J. Trump and Bob Lighthizer. We're going to get a great deal in phase one, or we won't, depending on the Chinese. Let's also remember, Lou, they walked away in May We're here to have a fair deal with them. If they walk away again, it won't be our fault. President Trump has done nothing but bargain in good faith with the Chinese.
Just as he did leading up to their reneging in May.
Well, let's see if it's a new day or a repeat of history. But we're on a glide path to Chile, and it's 3 weeks away. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely. Peter Navarro, trade czar.